Quite the nights for the Thunder. But Paul, what was the most impressive thing about the Thunder's game?
The most impressive thing about the game last night. See, we're entering a territory of the series to where you're going to learn about individuals and what your team is really all about, especially when the series is tied 2-2. At this point, you know everything about the other team, their plays, their tendencies, everything. You've watched countless tape of them. You've slept dreaming about everything they've done. I'm talking about playbooks, film, shower, bathroom. You know what kind of gum they like. You know what type of food they eat at this point. And for me to see how easy it was for them. I mean, from the beginning of the game, I'm not saying they know everything. Look at this. They had layup, dunk, Jalen Will, J-Dub. We're going to talk about J-Dub. I was impressed, how easy it was for him. At the beginning of the game, no way, listen, this guy's averaging 23 a game. You're supposed to know where he is, and he comes out with a dunk. It's only 1 minute into the game. He comes out, another dunk, layup. But, you see what I'm saying? This is just easy when at the point of the series where it should be hard to score because of everybody knowing your tendencies, he's coming out getting layups, dunks, and they both have one of their best games of the series. So that's impressive because I knew for me, as the series got longer, it was harder to score. We had a game, in Game 7, the score was the final game was 67-8. Wasn't it, Rick? It was a low-scoring game because nobody could score.
90s and 80s.
It was just so hard. So for me to just see how easy it was for certain guys, especially J-Dub, and that was just impressive to just see that, especially knowing that Indiana is probably they're in a must-win now. This is...
Oh, they've been in a must-win.
Yeah, of course.
Pacers in 6?
I had Pacers in 6. Now it's Pacers in 7.
See, I might move it back to 6 for OKC.
Am I the only person who has kept their prediction in place?
But you started off at 7.
Well,
that's
what I predicted.
You can't go to 8.
So you got.
I had OKC in 7.
Yeah, she had OKC in 7, but she can't go to 8.
Wait.
She can't go to 8.
What does that mean?
Because we keep moving from 5 to 6 to 7.
Nobody told
now
you
I'm talking about going back to 6.
Short series. I thought it was going to be a long series. That's why I predicted that.
No,
what was the most impressive thing about the Thunder last night, Key?
First of all, they stayed the course. And I've been talking about in these last 5 games, the turnovers. Finally caught up to them. Where now you all of a sudden got OKC scoring 32 points off of the turnovers. And their bench, Caruso didn't shoot the ball well. He was 1 of 8. He only had 2 points. But other than that, the other guys kind of chimed in and chipped in, put up another 30 points off the bench, 30 and some change off the bench. So when you start to look at that, you say to yourself, okay, they knew that they were not going to lose this game at home. They knew that. Because if anything, they now can go back to a place in Indy that they just won at and win again to close it out. Although many NBA players or even NFL guys would love to win in front of their home crowd, they don't want to mess around and have to go Game 7. So they're going to go right back, take care of business in Game 6, and get it over with. So I'm moving mine from 7 back to 6. And then if I need to move it to 7, I got the room to be able to do it.
Okay. Rick, what was the most impressive thing about the Thunder last night?
The same thing that's been impressive about them throughout these playoffs and throughout the series, their poise. We forget, this is the youngest team in the league. And a team that has, prior to this, never been past the second round. They've never been here before. And yet, the way that they play, look, Indiana made their run. They got it within 2. Indiana was up 2-1 in the series.
Right back up to 14.
For everything that's happened, I've yet to see them flustered. I've yet to see them where I feel like they're unraveling. I see that with Indiana all the time. And then they kind of reel it back in. OKC simply has not done that. And so that, to me, is the most impressive, that they've just stayed the course. And it's also, they don't get too low when they've fallen behind, and they don't get too high when they move ahead. They have just been so businesslike in their approach here that they feel like, you think it's like they've been here before, and they have not. So making good on their 68-win season, I've seen plenty of teams have great regular seasons and not live up to it in the postseason. They are doing all of that, and that is what's impressive.
I think they made the Pacers look sloppy. The ending with the 4 straight turnovers was awful. Jalen Williams obviously had the game of his life, but you match that with a struggling performance from Haliburton. Shady does what he always does, and then you add J-Dub's performance. That's going to be a recipe for a loss. They looked energetic. They looked like they had poise at the end of the game. They looked like they weren't worn out. They were playing unbelievable defense, as they have the whole series. But in this game, you've now put the Pacers in a must-win situation, or the series is over. I just really loved how they executed down the stretch, and that it feels like they're maturing before our eyes, because they were having trouble closing out games that were close. You're front running, only beating teams by blowouts, and now you're able to execute down the stretch, put a lot of pressure on the Pacers, and you get breaks when you're on championship runs. Nobody wants to see Haliburton not at 100%. We want to see the best against the best. But things happen throughout the series, and you're taking advantage of what has been presented to you, which is their leader is not 100%. So let's not play around and get this win. The turnovers to me are just fascinating, though. Like I think the Thunder are an unbelievably great defensive team. But it just feels like mental errors more than just being a great defensive team.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is that the Pacers feel in order to win, they have to play fast. They have to push the tempo. And because they struggle scoring once it slows down. They don't have guys who can break you down. And so they're trying to play fast at every opportunity, which means whoever gets the ball is taking it and going. And they're just not making good decisions.
Yeah.
They're so eager to, well, we got to make it happen right away, that they get turnovers. And then last night it was just, a big part of it to me was there were guys that were hesitant to take their shot when it was there, and they would get stuck. They'd pick it up, they wouldn't take the shot. Now they're making a pass, and OKC is jumping on that.
And OKC is a very handsy team, though. What I mean by that, they're active.
Yeah.
And they create those turnovers by being active, being aggressive. If the ball is swinging, they swing with the ball. They're not standing and looking.
You know what, Key? They have the off the ball freedom as much as I've seen with any team. Of if you're not on the ball, you can go and either trap or you can go and play that passing lane, rather than I gotta stay with mine. I've never seen teams that have as much freedom as they do to play the passing.
Well, if you're confident in your ability to react and make up for and recover, yeah. But it really does feel like the Pacers were not decisive down the stretch. It didn't look really like them.
Not at all.
In those close games, which it was in the second half, that's when they keep it close and then have been going in for the kill. They weren't decisive down the stretch. They looked tired. They looked like they were unsure of themselves. And I don't know that it was just how good they've been defensively.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a different energy to it now.
I wonder how much of that is, Paul, how much is that a carryover from when you lose a game the way they lost Game 4, and you get to that stretch, and you know what happened the last time, and either you're trying not to make it happen or you're afraid, whatever it is, like that's playing in your head, and it actually causes more problems.
Well, a number of these guys have been in the playoffs before. You just went to the Eastern Conference Finals. You have an understanding of the emotional roller coaster that the playoffs is all about. You got to understand, all right, it's time to put that behind us. It's time to focus on that. We can't do nothing about what happened in Game 4. It's time to lock in the Game 5 and understand, listen, this is why we win, and that's all we're going to focus on. But to me, it's mind-boggling. You continue to have these terrible turnovers. These are preseason type numbers for turnovers. Like, you know what I'm saying? In the finals, like, I'm not even sure, and I haven't looked this up, how many times have a team had multiple games of 20-plus turnovers?
Yeah.
Like, when you get to this point in the finals, everything should be down. It shouldn't be. This is a preseason.
They've been turning the ball over, though, all series. Crazy. And
they've been one of the best teams at protecting the ball all year long during the regular season. That's the mind-blowing thing about this. And so this is really like, I can't really put a finger on it because the statistics are the statistics. And they are outplaying them, the Thunder. When you look at it, they're outshooting them from the field, 45. They out-rebounded them. So these is numbers I look like usually when you do things like that, you win those games. Yep. When you outshoot them and you out-rebound a team, but then you turn the ball over.
Doubled up the turnovers.
Yeah.
And the fast break discrepancy is the same, so that's even. Like I'm trying to put the free throws the same.
But the difference is to me that on the turnovers, like he said, now the Thunder are scoring over the turnovers. Yeah, 32 points. That stretch in the fourth from 6-16 to 5-20, they had 4 straight turnovers on possessions. Bad pass by Nembhard, Haliburton, Nembhard, and Haliburton. Back to back on 4 straight possessions. Like,
right.
You can't win like that.
And not just in their live ball turnovers, where it's like at the top of the key, and it turns around and it's an easy bucket going the other way. Emotionally, that has to be draining.
That's draining.
Because you can't even really recover on it.
Go ahead. No, I just know in the locker room, I know that's at the top of the board.
Don't turn the ball over.
You can't turn the ball over versus them because they're going to turn it easy. And so, like me, I'm thinking like that's my whole focus. Yeah. So if it's close, I'm going to be like, no, I got to go another way. They just out here.
Yep.
No, but what OKC is doing, too, though, is they're forcing them into the turnovers because of their active movement.
A lot of these is unforced.
No, but when I say forced, I'm like, okay, got it here, but because I decided I'm going here, OKC all of a sudden, somebody is shooting the gap.
But you're telegraphing that.
That may be true.
You're getting it, and then you're passing it, and the pass is not
It's like right to him. Like, it's not there.
Here you go. Yeah. Take it.
Like, here you go.
When you're in a situation like that mid-game where things are starting to get a little hectic, like you have 4 straight turnovers.
Timeout!
Yeah, like obviously timeout. But is it one of those situations where it's like, okay, we gotta clear the energy here? Like you've been tripping over stuff all day and knocking into things, and you almost wrecked, and you just like we need to center ourselves for a second. Like, what do you do in a situation like that mid-game, especially a game like this?
I mean, you're in the middle of it, so it's draining. It's like because this is all we talk about in practice on the film, in the timeout, but it's draining. Like, so it's like, what more as a coach can I tell y'all? Like, y'all rushing things. And it's a fine line between the way Indiana plays because they want to play fast, but they got to play smart.
Yeah.
And that's one thing they're not doing. They're not being smart with their play. They're playing hard. They're playing hard enough to win, but they just not putting the smartness with this, and that's what's costing them in this series.
What do you think is the biggest issue for them in Game 5, Rick?
Obviously, the having as many turnovers as they had assists. But the other part, and it kind of led to the turnovers, was that their starting backcourt, Tyrese Haliburton and Andrew Nembhard, were afraid to shoot the ball. Like they would get the spots where, against an Oklahoma City defense, against a defense as good as theirs, when you create a shot, you have to take that shot because you're probably not going to get another one. And Andrew Nembhard, almost every one of his turnovers was in a situation where he got the ball, made a step, and had a shot and didn't take it, and then picked up his dribble and was stuck and was throwing it looking for an outlet, and it's a turnover going the other way. So not only did you not take the shot and you passed it up, but then you created a bucket for them. And I don't know where that came from. Like, I've watched Nembhard since he was at Gonzaga, and I always thought that he was a guy that would perform at this level on this stage. And for the better part of these playoffs, he has. But over the last 2 games, he looks afraid to shoot the ball. He hasn't been as effective defending Shea. I don't know what happened to him, but there's been a crisis in confidence with him, and then obviously Tyrese Haliburton. I mean, if you're going to go down, you got to take more than 6 shots. If you're Tyrese Haliburton, I'd rather have you 0 for 12, 0 for 15. Show me that you were trying to get it done, as opposed to, I just abdicated responsibility for this, and I'm hoping somebody else can do it.
Yeah, and if that was the case, though, 6 assists, I need more assists if you're not going to take more shots.
And that'll come off of the aggression and getting to the paint and them stopping your shot. But if you're not even looking for your shot,
and the two, obviously Jalen Williams we well documented the 40 points that was just a dagger. That was a killer. Yeah. But the better team won. The better team won. And I go back to Game 1. If they don't lose Game 1, this thing might be over by now. But Game 1, for whatever reason, put a little stoppage in OKC. But once OKC got to the point of Game 4, or better yet, Game 2, then they went to Indy, and then they wind up losing but getting game 4. They realized to themselves, we can beat them in consecutive games with no problem at all. And capitalized on the turnovers. They capitalized on the turnovers, something they were not doing those first 2-3 games. They just wasn't.
Are they decidedly the better team?
They're the better team. Let's not.
Or are the Pacers not playing to the best of their capabilities?
But I make you play that way. I make you play that way.
In some situations, yes, but I don't know.
I don't think the distinction is that great.
They're the better team.
Look, the bottom line for me is that Indiana, as coming into this series, I thought they could make it an interesting series. I thought OKC was the better team.
And they made it an interesting series.
They did.
But it's over.
But when you go up 2-1 and you have game 4 at home.
Yes.
And you have a lead.
Yes.
Going into the fourth quarter. You have to close that out then. And
But
they
if
played.
I'm OKC,
they did not play with the urgency at that point. Like, we have to win this because if it's 2-2 going back to Oklahoma City, we are losing
But do you
this
not
series.
think that
They didn't play with
OKC?
that.
You think OKC was just sitting around and going, "Oh, well, we're gonna let them go to 3-1 so we can just go home early"?
No. But Indiana, like, I can say that Oklahoma City is the better team, and I can say that we are where we are because Indiana hasn't played to their potential.
But you are not giving OKC any love by acting as though the reason they're in this position is because Indy. I need to give OKC the credit to put you in this position.
I don't think they're that clear cut that much better. Like what I saw yesterday, the biggest issue for me yesterday was Rick Carlisle not changing up his defensive scheme. He's not like he's allowing Shea and J-Dub to play to their strengths. And what I mean by that, picking up full is good, but sometimes you got to scale back because now this is what's happening during the game. And I was watching the game and I'm like, why isn't Rick Carlisle going under the picks that's happening at half court? So now when they turn the corner and then they're giving like a hedge. They're not, you know what I'm saying? They're hedging and not helping. So now when Shea comes off the pick and roll, the guy who's setting the pick is not helping. He's kind of just backing up. And now Shea and Jalen have straight line drive going downhill.
Yep.
And now what's happening every time? And then when you help from the low man, from the corner, you're leaving the corner man open. So the other thing that Carlisle didn't do, he didn't put T.J. McConnell in for the fourth quarter until late.
Yep.
Like, he had it going. You're supposed to play him the whole fourth. Like it was little things. He put Ben Shepherd was his first sub off the bench. When you had Ben Mathurin, who's been your top bench player, he should be the first one off the bench. Then you play Tony Bradley, who hasn't played. I don't even remember him. You didn't have Thomas Bryant in
this game.
Like, he played significant. Thomas Bryant gave you a lip in some games, so I'm looking like, what's going on over here?
Game was that Benedict went crazy in 3?
He been playing well.
Yep. He went crazy in game 3, right?
Yeah, game 3, but he should be your top sub off the bench.
And then he didn't play much. And then he didn't play much.
13 minutes in 4.
So I'm looking at these little things throughout the course of the series.
You make the greatest point.
But I'm saying, like, it's Rick Carlisle not changing the defense. You're supposed to take them from their strengths, from going downhill. When they come off that pick, it should be a trap every time.
Yep.
Every single time.
Why are you sliding over, man? You're scaring me.
No, because I got to get the angle for the camera.
Oh, I'm like, this dude's getting ready to fall off the damn jet.
I'm trying to get the good angle.
Move.
He's sliding.
No, I'm getting a good angle.
We got to lift
moving
on
his
the,
feet.
I got to get the good
stage.
angle,
You won't go on
Keith.
the stage.
I'm saying to myself, I hope Paul don't go overboard.
Yeah, because I ain't going to be able to.
No. Like I'm saying, though, a lot of this on Rick Carlisle for not making the necessary judgment just in that part, just that part. So when Shea comes off, he should feel stress. When Jaylen Brown comes off the pick, he should feel stressed or to have to get rid of the ball. And all they're doing is turning the corner, going straight downhill, getting layup after layup or finding guys. And if he don't make that adjustment, and go under the pick. Go under these picks because I haven't seen Shea shoot 10 threes in the game yet. That's the defense you play for Steph Curry. They playing Steph Curry. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's the adjustment I would make. If they don't make that adjustment, they going home.
You sure you don't want to coach the Knicks?
That's why I tapped you. I'm like, he sounds like a Knicks coach.
I've already turned down the Knicks job. So don't call me again, you guys. I'm going to be at home taking care of my kids.
Paul sound like you know what he's talking about. You
know what he's talking
about? No, 100%.
You understand what I'm saying?
First of all, like, what was the reason that we thought Indiana had a chance in this series, especially when they were going up 2-1. It was all on Rick Carlisle. It was his ability to pull the strings and do all that stuff. And I think the point that you made that I hadn't really given a lot of thought about is the fact that you want to keep changing up looks on Shea and Jalen.
They're not doing that.
And they didn't do that. They found a formula early and it worked. And then Mark Dagnall made an adjustment. And I think we went into the next thing, okay, what's Rick going to do? And Rick really didn't
change nothing.
He didn't do anything.
Stop going over the picks at half court.
Yeah.
Knee slip, Nimhard.
great-
Stop that. Go under. Like, and if you're going over the picks, the big man or the other guy who's setting the pick, come up into a soft trap so he can't turn the corner. It's basketball one-on-one. It's bad. I can't even watch it. This is like, it's basketball one-on-one. What are y'all looking at over there on the staff?
Yeah, Coach Paul on 3, right? Get everybody get up.
Amen to
Coach
that.
Paul 3.
Yeah, it's
1, 2, 3,
it's clear. It's clear.
I feel like we just had a timeout and we're in the huddle. Let's go.
Well, Tyrese Haliburton went to the locker room with a calf injury in the first half. He came back and played 34 minutes total in the game, but was unable to make a field goal, scoring just 4 points in the game, all on free throws. Haliburton updated his status after the loss. Well, how concerning is Haliburton's injury?
You know, it's all about the mental makeup, because I remember when I went down in the finals, that's all I thought about. Like, it's the finals. There's no way I'm missing the finals. If I can walk, I can get back out there. And I went back to that back in that wheelchair. And I came back and I said, I can walk. I came back out there.
You gonna make me say something, get in
I came
trouble,
back out
man.
there, Key, Rick, and Joy. I came back out there because I could walk. So he got to understand there's 2 games left at maximum. It's time to, hey, chest up, chin out, and shoulders.
How many points did you score when you came back out?
I don't know,
so
but he
when
came
I
out and
came
hit a
back-
shot, right?
I know he hit a couple shots, but
Oh, yeah, I came out, hit a couple shots, you know. I turned the tide. You know, I don't, you know, I just
I'm serious,
I don't know. I just know
I'm serious,
I know
Paul.
the tide turned.
What did you score, like 10 that second half or
It's going to be
something?
inspirational for him to come and just turn the tide for them. You can walk, you can play. That was my thing. Wheelchair, I got up, I can walk, I can play. I'm back out there. Let's go.
If you lose a bet, you can walk from home.
I lost a bet, I walked.
See, but the thing for me with him, it's not concerning at all. What did you say? Played
4 minutes.
34 minutes after the injury. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Your feelings is hurt. That's really all it is. There's nothing wrong with you. If you can play 34 minutes after the calf injury and run up, it wasn't like he was hobbled dribbling the ball. He looked like the normal guy at the start of the game. For whatever reason, he just wasn't aggressive. Maybe he felt a certain way and didn't want to do certain things because he was scared. You see what I'm saying? But he was fine. He played 34 more damn minutes. So there's nothing wrong with him. He'll be fine in game 6. Fine.
What's concerning for me is we got the news that he suffered the injury in game 2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's even
that was
even
the first
more
report.
of a
He suffered,
mystery now.
He suffered it in game 2. He was 1 rebound short of a triple-double in game 3, and now we're in game 5, and he's talking about it. And I guess this was the thing for me in watching. I'm like, is he injured, or he's just having one of those games where he decided he's going to be passive? Because he's had one of those, at least one of those, in every round. For all of the heroic things that he's done, he's had a game where we're all going, what's going on with Ty, right?
He pulled the AAU basketball trick, huh?
I believe in the Jalen Brunson Board of Health approach, which is if you're on the floor, you're not injured.
No,
If you're on the floor, if you're on the bench, it's because you're injured. If you're on the floor, you're playing. I mean, how many times have we seen Jalen Brunson obviously hobbled? Obviously hobbled. And you would be asked about it. He's not talking about it. That's what bothers me the most. Is
34 minutes. Just point to that.
We're gonna talk about it after the game, and yeah, I'm hurt, but you know, if I can walk, I can play. Dude, I get it, Paul. This is the finals, but when you came back out, you weren't out there just walking.
You wrong with him
You were
either.
playing.
Wasn't nothing wrong
I had
with
a
Paul.
sprained meniscus.
Oh God.
Sprained meniscus was they
you can't-
diagnosed.
You had so a
You can't
sprained
strain a
meniscus.
meniscus.
You can't
You can't
four
strain a
people had to
meniscus.
carry you off.
You can
Paul.
tear a meniscus.
strain it too.
No, you
Look
cannot.
at this.
What is a
That is
meniscus?
ridiculous. Look,
Yes,
now
the strain. If I can walk, I
yeah,
can hoop.
we'll go.
I'm walking. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, this was yes. Let's go. Okay, yeah. All right.
Oh, that's the
hold on.
injury.
It's hurting. All right, let me. Hold on, let me see if I can walk now. Let me get up. I can walk. Let's go.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, let's go.
Christmas miracle.
I really want to know, one day over some tequila, you're going to tell me what really happened. That's all right.
Meniscus.
I'll tell you what, man. Being in the building, the shift
You was
in
there, man?
energy. Yes,
You was there?
I was sidelined. Shift in energy. I was sideline radio.
So you saw him skipping back in?
The whole thing, and it was like when he went down and out.
Well, that was...
Yeah,
but
when he came back out, the building went nuts. They were dead in the water.
That on the chalkboard, all this time during the game,
I went
these
to the
minutes
back.
fall down.
I went to the back.
I thought it was a trick, man.
The script was there.
It was a trick.
It worked.
And it worked. No, I'm not going to take it away from it. It worked. But don't tell me you got 4 dudes carrying you
in my
off.
locker room before the game. 10-minute mark in the second quarter. You're going to go down. You're going to go out, come back.
It's going to be a strained
You probably
meniscus.
would, let me think.
Tell him it's a strained meniscus.
Because he at that time, he would be the only one for the Celtics that could pull it off. Although KG and Ray was... because of who he was for the Celtics, and his career had been there forever. He
also,
was the only
Paul
one.
has the personality to do it.
They couldn't take
KG
it.
couldn't, KG couldn't possibly do that.
Okay, skip it back.
Skip is the craziest part. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.